Salaam everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to talk about a Poco smartphone. As you could probably already tell, we have a gift box here, of course, a shirt, as well as the hat. A lot of accessories that were sent, thank you very much. But today we're going to focus on the M4 Pro. Just announced from Poco, not asking for a lot of money, starts at about 219 euros, but offers us a lot. Is this the new budget king? Let's go ahead and check it out. This is TK and this is the Poco M4 Pro. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So this is pretty much the package. The box, Poco M4 Pro. This is a 5G or dual 5G SIM card supported device. It does support an SD card, as well as the fact that it actually has the MediaTek 810. That's a brand new Dimensity chipset from them. Now keep in mind, this is a 6nm chipset that is powering this device. We have a clear case, a 33 watt charger in the box, as well as a USB Type A to USB Type C cable to be able to charge up our 5000 milliampere battery that's built into this smartphone. Now on the back we have a dual camera setup, a 50 megapixel sensor on the main, and as well as an 8 megapixel ultra wide. You can definitely see the Poco, and this is one of the 3 available colors that were available at launch. Now when we switch it over to the front, we have a 6.6 inch 90 Hz 1080p panel. The fingerprint sensor is mounted on the side. It's essentially the same as the power button, volume rocker right above that. We have an IR blaster, a microphone, and of course one of the speaker phones or speakers on the side. We do have stereo speakers. A dual SIM tray, dual SIM card supporting, or an SD card that we're also able to expand. There's going to be 2 different versions of this device. It's going to be a 464 that sells for about 229, and of course 6128 that's going to be selling about 249. Although they are going to have an early bird sale, which makes it available for 219. That's going to be the 6128, even cheaper than the standard model at 229. One thing to keep in mind is, as I mentioned, there is a 4 and 64 gig, but you are able to expand the memory. On the bottom we have a headphone jack, one of the other microphones, of course the USB-C for charging and data transfer, and of course the bottom firing speaker. So stereo speakers, 1080p, 90 Hz refresh rate, as well as the fact that we have, of course, the front-facing camera here is a 16 megapixel sensor. Again, powering this entire thing is going to be the Dimensity 810. That's going to be one of their latest chipsets that provides us more of a mid-range processor type of an experience. And what I mean by this is if we jump into Geekbench and we just want to look in real quick into the actual numbers, I did turn on Game Turbo for it, but as far as history, we'll notice here as single score is going to be 595 and dual score, well, multi-score is going to be 1801. When we jump over into the compute for the Vulkan test, we've got about 1593. So again, more of a mid-range type of an experience, and of course well-rounded with a lot of nice features. Android 11 out of the box with MIUI 12.5 in the package with the Poco launcher, and that's what we're seeing here. So we have the Google feed here on the left, an amazing video that I posted earlier this week, of course. App drawer at the bottom, we're able to customize it. Search bar on the bottom, exactly the right spot to put it in. Now if we swipe from the right side, we get access to our toggles in the notification panel, but if we swipe from the left, we have access to the notification panel. So notifications, swipe left. To actually access the toggles, jump into the settings on the right, and of course you can expand it to show even more toggles without having to actually connect to anything else. Overall, the experience is very nice, very fluid. I think 6 gigs of RAM is actually very, very nice. Although, if you probably watched the announcement, you noticed that they mentioned one extra feature that enables us to actually use additional RAM, meaning the storage capability from the internal ROM to actually support additional RAM. So one thing you can definitely double check here. So if you jump into additional settings and of course memory extension, you're able to turn on this feature that allows us to use 2 additional gigs of internal storage to augment the RAM, meaning the 6 gig can turn into actually 8 gigs of RAM with the 128 gigs of internal storage. Something that's very nice, and again gives us a little bit more flexibility with a device that is again priced at a very budget-friendly mindset. As far as some of the additional features, we do have a radio built in here, so you need to use the headphone jack to be able to turn on the automatic radio there. We also have the built-in remote, since we have an IR blaster to control our televisions. A lot of nice things. Game Turbo is installed and you just need to activate it. I went ahead and installed Thumper, Call of Duty Mobile, Pubg Mobile, and of course Asphalt 9 to be able to test out some of the gaming capabilities of this device. On the cameras, again, as I mentioned to you guys at the beginning, 50 and an 8 on the back and a 16 on the front. Some of the capabilities that we're able to do here obviously is photo, portrait mode, video, pro mode, and of course under more we have the full 50 megapixel sensor readout, documentation, of course, time-lapse, panorama, night shots, and of course short video if you want to be able to use some of the themes available. Let's not waste too much time. Let me give you guys a quick sample from the front-facing and back-facing camera on the brand new M4 Pro. Let's go ahead and start off with the front-facing camera experience here. This is going to be a 1080p 30 frames per second. You're able to go down to 720, but 1080p will be the maximum at 30 frames per second on the front. We're able to go to 1080p 60 frames per second on the back on the main sensor. This should be a good example of what the front-facing experience is on the brand new M4 Pro. Now when we switch it over to the main sensor on the back, we're able to go all the way up to 1080p 60 frames per second. We're able to go to 1080p 30 if we go with the ultra wide, but on the main sensor, the 50 megapixel sensor, 1080p 60 will be the maximum resolution. And this should be a good example of what the audio and video is from the brand new M4 Pro. Now, as you probably noticed right there, again, 1080p is going to be the maximum resolution we're able to use. 1080p 30 max on the front and 1080p 60 on the back. Let's go ahead and play our favorite audio testing song. This is Alex Scrindo Jumbo by NCS Release. I'll go ahead and jump in. We have it right about where the drop happens. Of course, we're going to go volume all the way to the top.
Jack it up.
It sounds pretty good. It's definitely not very bassy or very loud, but it definitely should be pretty good for phone calls and of course any type of media consumption, since we are actually able to enjoy content on this. It's a 6.6 inch display, 1080p, that we're able to go all the way up to 90 hertz. So movies are going to look really nice and definitely all the way on this device. Even though we do have that punch hole camera in the center, it doesn't really bother me too much when we're watching content. Now, as far as gaming, as I mentioned to you guys, we installed a few games installed on this device. So we're going to go ahead and share with you guys a few different things of what you're able to do. The Game Turbo is a feature that you need to turn on directly within the settings, and once you turn it on, you're able to turn on basically home screen orientation, set up everything, performance mode, performance optimizations if you want to turn those on. It enables us to actually have a better gaming experience. One thing to mention though, some of the limitations that we have here on the gaming experience is limited by the Dimensity 800 or the 810. It's mostly going to give us a pretty good frame rate, so keep in mind, depending on the game, you're going to get a slightly different experience. But let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump into, well, let me show you guys some examples of gaming.
Sniper! Need backup! Sniper down! Kill confirmed. Reloading! Cover me! Enemy UAV spotted. Enemy down! Need backup! Need backup! Enemy down! UAV recon ready. Daylight, lightning, and the thunder. Sun, moon, and star.
It never ceases to surprise me to see what Poco is able to put into a device and of course price it at the right level. This is definitely a budget-friendly smartphone. Again, if you're able to pick it up at 210 euros, then you're definitely going to save up even more money. But even at 229 or 249 euros, you're still looking at a lot of functionality in a smartphone that has a very big potential, a very decent processor for what we're able to get here, the 810 or the Dimensity 810. It's actually quite powerful for our daily activities. Gaming on this is not going to be the best experience, but it's definitely pretty good for what you're getting here. A large 6.6 inch display with up to 90 Hz refresh rate, and of course the touch sampling is even higher. Actually, the much better touch sampling on here than what we've seen in the past. The RAM and the storage capability is going to depend on what you're picking up, but keep in mind, regardless, both models are able to use internal storage to be able to augment RAM. One thing to keep in mind, the 464 obviously has less, so that's one thing you probably want to be able to use. And you can't use an SD card storage. It has to be internal storage, since that's probably going to be a lot faster than any of the other SD cards we're able to put in there. As far as the functionalities with the camera, 50 megapixel sensor here is definitely very nice, works very nicely in general experiences. As you saw there with some of the images I'm taking for you guys here, I went to the Descanso Garden not that long ago, and it absolutely looks very, very nice. Front-facing video and back-facing video is capped at 1080p, but again, at about the 220 or 250 euros, I'm not expecting to have 4K in any of those capabilities. I'm very happy with what we're able to get at that price point. Again, set the expectations and what you're looking for how much money you're paying. And I feel like the features that we get here are definitely more than what we're actually paying for this device. Now, 5,000 milliampere battery means we're going to be lasting a lot longer than any other device. Android 11 with MIUI 12.5 out of the box is definitely very nice. The Poco launcher is definitely one of the better options that we have on the market right now. So I really like the ability of having the Google feed on the left and all of the other functionalities built in. So what I'm trying to say is that this device will not disappoint as long as your expectations are set around the price point of what they're asking for. I do want to say that if you also want to check out what's inside of this special package that Poco did include in the box, on top of the fact that you can probably see the shirt and the hat, there was a little bit of a small figurine called the Poco King. So I posted that over on Instagram. I'll give you guys a link for that in the description below. Let me know what you guys think of the M4 Pro. I'm very stoked, and I'm actually very much excited to see what people can do with this device. It offers a lot, but it doesn't ask for so much. This is TK. Thank you very much to Poco for allowing me to check it out, and thank you for checking out this video. I'll see you in the next video.